Alright, Carl, hello, Yahba Shimi Al Shai. Double honors to the apostles of GMS. Honestly, brothers, will be pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And I wanted to mention the thing that's happening out there, man, with you know, all of these nations retaliating to the so-called aggression, all right, that really the United States has against these different countries like China, all right, like Russia. All right, so you got it to where now the Russians are basically gonna have to make certain moves, all right, for what they because they've released what's known as the Sarmat missile, man, all right, Satan II missile, right, as a direct retaliation to the missile defense system that the Americans have put down into Russia's borders, and I believe it's in Poland that they put that particular defense missile, man. Okay, and you also got it to where the Chinese are out there now. They got nuclear capable submarines, all right, that they got encircling America, man. Because really, what you know as the terror, or what people, you know, you got this misconception that you got these terrorist groups in these different countries, and you know it all stems off of Al Qaeda and all of that. But really, the real terrorist is the United States, man. Okay, and you can read about that within the book of, I'm gonna get that first, within the book of Malachi, it's the first chapter, because in the Malachi, the first chapter, they was gonna be known as the border of wickedness, man. All right, so wherever they was gonna move forth, right, however they was gonna move, whatever country they was gonna go to, they was gonna bring wickedness, they was gonna bring death, man. All right, that's why they're known as the border of wickedness within the scriptures. And also too, when you go into the book of Maccabees, the first chapter, around about the 7th verse, you know that when Alexander came into power, all right, he was in terms of military might, he was more so than his predecessors, man. He was more so than his predecessors. So you had it to where Xerxes and all of them, man, they were all, you know, mass destroyers of different nations and that. But you had it to where Alexander, he had to be better than that. He had to be the next great superpower. And so in order to do so, he's doing exactly what Esau's doing right now, okay, which is doing that same being the same destructive force on the earth, man, bringing forth all kind of misery upon the whole earth, man. Okay, but that all goes back to what the scripture says, man. All right, so this is in the book of Malachi, the 1st chapter. All right, get that in Malachi. Malachi 1 and 4. It says, "Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places." So the Most High had it to where after, you know, for a certain period of time, I believe it's 1,000 years, where you had Jakes ruling out there within Europe, all right, in Russia, in places in England, Ireland, and all of that. You had it to where you had empires built by Jakes, man. Okay, Israelites, Negroes, Hispanics, and they, you know, really it was the Negroes predominantly, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Okay, because under the time of during the time of the Assyrian Empire, when they was in power, all right, from when about 700 BC, all right, you had it to where the kingdom known as Samaria within the scriptures, which is the northern kingdom, the Latin-speaking tribes, we know as Mexicans, right, which is Ephraim, right, we know as Seminole Indians, and all of that. They went forth, all right, into the Americas, man. So they was already there before the Negroes, and the Negro, that being Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, right, had been taken to that land by way of what? Captivity, man. All right, but after a certain amount of time, when, you know, during 70 AD, after the Flavian dynasty, all right, and you had it to where, you know, Esau came up into Jerusalem, and he took down the Jakes that were living in Jerusalem, and they scattered forth, all right, as spoken about within Revelations, the 12th chapter. Because Revelations, the 12th chapter, it says, the earth shall help the woman, but Esau was going to come through as a flood, man. All right? So that's where we went into interiors of Africa and so on and so forth. All right? And then after being in the interiors of Africa, you had it to where you had all kind of empires building up wherever Jake had scattered to, man. All right? But after 1,000 years of that rulership, 1,000 years of prestige, all right, you had it to where them Jakes, they were still committing wickedness, man. A good example of that wickedness is the Council of Nicaea. All right? Where with Constantine, which was a Jake, basically was amalgamating Greek mythology with the scriptures, man. So the Most High had to take him down, but that was all going back onto prophecy, where with you had it to where Esau said they was impoverished because they didn't have no cities or anything like that. They were, the book of Job, the 30th chapter says they were chased away as thieves, man. Okay, They were driven from among men, as if they had cried after a thief. All right, because they were base creatures. They were violent in the earth, quoting the scripture within the book of Job, the 30th chapter. All right, so they was impoverished. They didn't have no cities. They didn't have no stronghold or anything like that. But the scripture says they was going to do what? It says, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. It says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build. So the Most High allowed you to build these different countries and these different empires and governments that you have. All right, because although it's a corporation, all right, as far as the scriptures is concerned, that's what's known as a kingdom, man. That's why the scripture says in the book of Amos, the 9th chapter, and the 8th verse, it says, "Behold, the eyes of the Lord power upon the sinful kingdom." Okay, so this is dominion, this domain, right, is ruled by who? By Esau, man. And he's really speaking about them elite banking families. They're like the top dogs on this planet, man. All right, and the vast majority of the people, they think, an individual who's on, who's got 40 million, all right, or 1 billion or 40 billion is rich. The elite banking families, they're on hundreds of trillions, man. Okay, them dudes are on hundreds of trillions because what? Because they're the kings of this earth, and the Most High allowed them to build for a certain period of time. Okay, but we're gonna see in the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, that really he allowed them to do that, but really his word is not still null and void. He said his word shall go off out of his mouth. So by way of his prophets, which are the mouthpiece of the Most High, that word goes forth, man. Okay, just like how you had it to where Nineveh was around about, was it 600 BC? All right, you had it to where the prophet Nahum, right, prophesied against Nineveh, man. And what happened? By way of the Babylonians, Nineveh was taken down, man. Okay, which I might get that in a second. But going back onto the point of the scripture, this is the book of Malachi, the 1st chapter and the 4th verse. It says, "But we will return and build the desolate places, and thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever." And what does the word indignation mean? It means righteous anger, all right? It means that you have an anger, a perpetual anger against these people. That's what the scripture says. He has indignation against this nation, right? An indignation against Esau and Edom, all right? And he says, the scripture says, he's got indignation for them, and he's got indignation forever. Okay, so there wasn't going to be a point where they were going to be in a certain amount of tribulation, right? And then they was going to be at peace with the Most High. The scripture says indignation forever, man. All right, so the Most High and Esau are never going to have no balance of peace to where with, when you go to the Zondervan's Compact Dictionary, that defines Esau, or Edom rather more, as being the only nation neighboring to Judah and Jerusalem and Samaria, right? That didn't receive no inheritance, man. They didn't get nothing. That was going to be mercilessly destroyed, man. And you can really read about that in the book of Isaiah, the 63rd chapter. Okay, but not to stray away too much from the point. It says, "They shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people of whom the Lord hath indignation, right, and forever." So you got it to where Esau's in power right now, and the Most High is giving him a certain amount of space to maneuver and so on and so forth. But see, Esau got that power, and he has been even more wicked, man. He's been even more committed more atrocities upon the earth, man. Okay, and that's why you're gonna see when I go to the book of Nahum, the 2nd chapter, it says, "War unto the bloody city." Really, I was talking about Nineveh, but the modern day Nineveh right now is is Babylon, man. Okay, because just how you go, how the prophecies will perfect. There's certain stuff within those prophecies that weren't fulfilled back then, man, because it applied to the latter times that we're living in right now. Okay, so I'll go to I believe it was Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter I had quoted, and then I go to the book of Nahum, the 2nd chapter. Okay, so. It's not Habakkuk. Right, yeah, so it's right, so Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, on the 1st verse, and it says, I'll start from the top. It says, "I'll stand upon my watch, and I'll set me upon the tower, and I'll watch to see what he will say unto me, and I will answer when I am reproved." So that's talking about the men of the Lord, all right, starting first and foremost with the elders of GMS, right, and all the men underneath them, right? We stand upon our watch, man. Okay, we're like sentinels, man, right? Starting first with the elders, you know, on down. You got to where brothers be looking at all the different stuff that happening out there within the media and all of that, man. All right, and deciphering it using the scriptures, right? So all of the madness that Esau is pushing forth, that really those philosophies and that, man. All right, that's how we know That's how we know what Babylon is and who Esau is, because of the way these different people. Because we're standing upon our watch, man. We're watching all of these things that are happening on the earth and deciphering them with the scriptures. Okay, so it says here, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Which meaning to say, what you're supposed to get prepared, man. Because you're going to see in the scriptures that the day of the Lord was going to come as a thief in the night, man. Okay? Lord was going to have it to where, in fact, I'll get that now in the book of 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter. He was going to have it to where he was going to have people talking about peace and safety. And that's when he was going to make his grand return, man. And that grand return was going to be come by way of what? These nations was going to be warring against each other, as spoken about within the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter. Okay? But ultimately, when they have come to the realization, right, that the Lord was coming and he was coming to destroy the earth, because these elites get into the scriptures. They know that, man. That's why they always paint the so-called UFOs and so-called aliens as being enemies of what? Of this kingdom, principally, man. But see, they're not the enemies of the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. See, that's your hope, all right? And that's why the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, all right, talks about how it's going to be a mysterious salvation, man. So far beyond what they had looked for, because dudes is looking for salvation within this society, man. All right? Getting that so-called good job within this society, but really the salvation the Most High is going to bring forth for the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans is going to be so far beyond what they look for, because it's like it's unimaginable, man. Here it is, you got to have it to where all kind of destruction is happening by way of the Lord, right? And his henchmen, his mercenaries, if you will, which is them celestial beings. Okay, here it is, that's going to be taking place against these against Babylon, all right, and all of them that are joined in hand with her. That's going to be playing out. And here is the Most High is going to lift those men out through the fire, man. As spoken about within the book of Zechariah, the 13th chapter, the 8th verse, man. Where with two parts therein are going to be destroyed. Because, hey, look, man. Jake, you know, them Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, they're broken down people, man. So you can't do nothing with the two first, man. You can't do nothing to them. You can't speak to them, okay? You can't teach them, okay? Because they won't learn, all right? Because the Most High has put that spirit of blindness within them, man. That's why you have it to where the scriptures in the book of, I know I'm quoting a lot of precepts. That's why it says in the book of Romans, the 11th chapter and the 7th verse, all right? What then Israel hath not obtained that which it seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it. All right? So the elect that are out there, they was going to receive reproval, man. They was going to receive correction. All right? They was going to receive the doctrine, because if you come into any realm of understanding, whether it be sports, boxing, philosophy, whatever, the first thing that you do, right, is you get reproved, man. Because you have an idea of how to go about whatever facet of life that is, but you get reproved. You go into a kitchen with a chef, the chef's going to tell you, look, don't be doing that. You're going to get this result. That's incorrect. How much more so the truth that the Most High has set forth? Okay? But you go to where the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, they are hard-headed people, man. And that's why it says in the book of Hosea, the 4th chapter and the 6th verse, right, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Now, really, when you apply that to the curses, right, and the law, you can see how these people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, man. Here it is, the scripture says you can't eat this, all right, you can't do that, all right. You got to where dudes are getting killed because of what? Because he slept with his neighbor's wife, man. He committed adultery. You got to what? You got high blood pressure and so on and so forth because you're eating food that's not good for you, man. All right. That's why the scripture talks about how the people of the Most High is destroyed for a lack of knowledge, man. All right? Which is the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. And tell me if those curses don't apply to them, man. Okay? Because you got some dudes out here, all right? I had an encounter with a certain pastor or whatever. You know, I used the opportunity to see, you know, what holes or flaws I had, you know, within the understanding of the scriptures. I wasn't trying to edify the dude. If a dude's out there trying to be a church pastor, you really can't save a dude like that, man. When I say, you really can't do nothing for that. So lucky, I used the wrong term there. But you really can't do nothing for an individual like that, man. Okay? But I used the opportunity, and you got it to where dudes would rather be African than to be an Israelite, man. All right? When their whole heritage, right, and their whole, the curses pertain to them, All right, the blessings pertain to them, and in the book of Romans, the 9th chapter tells you the adoption and the glory, right, belonged unto them that were of his kin, man. All right, they were of the same lineage as Paul was, man. Okay, so you got to where these dudes, and you ask these dudes, you ask an individual of these hard-headed Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, you ask him. You ask him, okay, you're saying African, but you can't find no Africa out of the 18 different nations that you have out of the different 18 nations that the Mosai had set forth, man. Okay, the Mosai had a specific amount of nations, and he put a specific name upon them. Namely, you got Moab, Ammon, Ishmael, all right. And most importantly, Israel, just to name a few, you got all the other, what was that, what's the name, 14, so you got, what, I named 4, so you got another 14, Japheth and so on and so forth, man. But see, that's going back onto the point I was making, the people of the Most High destroyed for a lack of knowledge, man, of which the principal knowledge is knowing that you are an Israelite, man. That the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans are the direct descendants, all right, of the man Israel, of the man Jacob. And the people that you got out there within the land of Israel right now, they ain't the real Jews. And the prophecies prove that within the book of Ezekiel, the 36th chapter, man. All right? So let me get to 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter, because I had quoted that. All right? How the day of the Lord was going to come as a thief in the night. All right, so this is the book of 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter. All right? And I'll start from the 3rd verse. It says, knowing this first, that they shall come in the last days, scoffers walking after their own lust, all right, and after their own lust, and saying, where's the promise of his coming, man? Okay, so they're looking for some kind of sign, man. All right, saying where is the promise of his coming? Because we're bringing to you all of these different scriptures and so on and so forth. But when you go back onto the book of Habakkuk, what does it say? It says, I will stand upon my watch. So meaning to say, we see the promise of the Lord's coming, man. We see these prophecies coming to pass. But see, because you ain't on your watch and you ain't up on your game, you truly believe that this kingdom is going to go on for a perpetual amount of time, man. All right? Because the Lord has put that spirit of blindness upon you to where you can't decipher, right? Oh, this means that within the scriptures. When you go to the book of 2nd Ezra, and really the book of Mark, the 13th chapter is an even better example. Because the book of Mark, the 13th chapter, it says how you guys going to have rumors of wars. We're in a time of rumors of wars. How you're going to have earthquakes. You've got all kind of earthquakes, man. Right, but the Lord said that's the beginnings of sorrows. Okay, that was going to be the point to where with sorrows was going to multiply, man. Okay, it says great famine, mourning. Okay, that's what the scripture is talking about. Okay, and that's what you're seeing playing out upon the earth. So therefore, guess what? That is the promise of the Lord's coming, man. That's the Lord preparing his grand entrance, man. Those are the things that he set forth as the foundation, as the premise of him returning, and therefore those are the things that's going to happen upon the earth, right? In diverse places, right? Like it says, you're going to have rumors of wars, right? Famines in diverse places and great mourning and so on and so forth. You're going to have that happening, and that's what we're seeing happening right now. Okay, before the Lord makes his before the Lord makes his grand return, man. Okay, and what's he going to do when he makes his grand return? He ain't going to be handing out peace and right and daffodils and meal and fish and so on and so forth. The scripture says he was going to come forth, right? And he said he was going to not meet thee as a man. In fact, like I quoted the book of Isaiah the 63rd chapter, right? The book of Isaiah the 63rd chapter shows you that when the Lord returns, man, right? The first thing that's on his mind is putting all kind of hell upon them Edomites, man. Okay. Back in the book of 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter and the 3rd verse, it says, knowing this first, that they shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers have fell asleep, all things continue as they have been from creation. So, because they ain't paying attention to them prophecies coming to pass, they actually believe that everything's just being the same, man. Everything's just carrying on in the same fashion, just like how it has been for the longest. But actually, that's not what's happening. The fact that you've been blinded, you actually believe that all of these things are happening in the same way, man. But you can see all kind of prophecies coming to pass on a day-to-day basis, man. All right? It says, for this, they are willingly ignorant. So they're willingly ignorant to the fact. So you see the men of the Lord said he was going to bring forth his, he said, in the book of Acts, it says, I believe that the Messiah sent the apostles last. Because what? You had Marcus Garvey, you had, what's this guy? Martin Luther King. But all of their doctrine came to naught because what? Because it wasn't off the Messiah, man. And the Messiah had it to where the prophets, right? the elect men of the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushai Ratazah, they came forth at the latter end. They were the last people to lead this people. And really, with reference to these guys like Martin Luther King and so on and so forth, Marcus Garvey, and whoever you want to call, man. Whoever fits into that category of so-called leaving the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans into some kind of equality with this man, all right? All of those individuals go against what the scripture talks about within the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter and the 68th verse, man. It says the Lord was going to put us into a state of enslavement by way of ships, and no man was going to save us. So he wasn't going to send no Joshua, right? He wasn't going to send no Moses, okay? Dudes was going to just catch hell until the Lord returned, right? And that's why when you go to the book of Hosea, I believe it's Hosea, it said the Lord's going to save you, but he ain't going to save you with no bow, all right? And no arrow, man. There ain't going to be no great standing army that's going to save us. It's going to be the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. That's why you go to where dudes are saying, oh, so what are you going to do, right? As a result of, now you know this knowledge, what are you going to do? You're going to set up armies? No, we're waiting for the Lord returns, man. Because when the Lord returns, he's going to turn Jakes into instruments of vengeance, man. All right? Then he's going to turn them into a new threshing instrument. Okay? And just to quote back onto what I said about the, he wasn't going to save us by no bow or arrow, that's with reference to when Hezekiah was a king. All right? And you had it to where the Assyrians had come up against it, man. All right? So you had it to where the Assyrians had come up against Hezekiah, and they would besiege the city. All right? But after a period amount of time, the Lord did what? The Lord sent out a death angel and killed all of them people around it, man. Right? I think it was something in the region of about 40. I think it's about 40,000 dudes that got massacred by that angel, man. All right, but now you're gonna have it to where the Most High is gonna give that the spiritual power, but really we gonna be doing some work in this.